Copyright disclaimer: under the Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the elder bishops of Great Millstone, who rule very well, very beautifully. Double salutations to the Akimat who pushing this gospel in truth and in sincerity to the best of their ability, given to them by Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the elect scattered abroad. May the election of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord willing, fall upon your houses. This is Brother Quanah Watt from the Arizona Great Millstone Camp. Come back at you, Lord will, with the edifying lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord will. It is edifying, Lord will. It is straight to the point. I came across this video, man, and, this is heavy, man. This dude kind of tears up, this woman, man, and he speaks on the 19th Amendment, which we're going to get into, but this is ultimately the reason why, right, or the beginning of, right, this feminist movement, and the reason why, right, this society is all fucked up, man, but without further ado, I'm gonna play this video. Fair use, right, with Section 107 of the Copyright Act. Fair use is not for monetary gain, strictly for educational purposes. But without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and play the video.
Would you rather date a liberal or an illegal immigrant?
Illegal.
Why?
Man, liberals are mentally ill, plus they're usually whores. With the illegal immigrant, maybe you'll find like a Muslim who has a low body count, but if they're an American, it's like Lenny Kravitz said, American woman, stay the fuck away from me.
Are you really kidding me?
Not at all.
You are a piece of shit.
Who asked for your opinion?
Who
asked for your opinion?
You're on a public
Are you drunk,
street.
ma'am? Are you drunk, ma'am?
Are you delusional?
Stop doing drunk.
Are you drunk?
And this is exactly why the 19th Amendment should be repealed, right here. This woman knows nothing about politics. She has no sense about history, but she wants to run her mouth. This is exactly what's going on.
Dude, that is...
Why are you here? No one asked you to be here. So go over there, talk to whoever you want. You're not wanted here. Bye-bye, go.
I'm not leaving.
Oh, see, this is the problem with this country, man. These women come over here, they start talking, and nobody wants them there.
Women come over here.
Why are you here? No one wants to talk to you.
No one wants to listen to your
You're here, though. I'm not coming to you. You're coming to me. By the way, why are you... It's a Cleveland show. Why don't you cover up? You need some fucking Islam in your life. You need some Islam in your life. Go find Jesus Christ.
Miami, dude. People walk around in bikinis.
Thank you for not wearing that. I do appreciate that.
I am covered up.
Well, when you grade on a curve of Miami, that's basically comparing yourself to whores and tramps and stuff like that.
You know what? Turn around.
This is pure comedy. Again, another reason why the 19th Amendment should have been repealed. And again, the 19th Amendment did more damage than COVID-19. Why are you...
Hey, don't touch people's cameras and stuff. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
watch.
Actually, let's ask him. Let's ask him. He's a non-white person. Let's ask him, man. You think this woman's drunk?
No, I think she should cover up, though. I think she's got her tits out. You're a little too old to be doing that.
You asked for it.
Sorry. It's true.
Looks great. You know what? I'm okay with that.
Women always give their opinion when they're not even wanted. Example right here.
Dude, you're such...
So look. So there you have it, man. Right? And I do want to deal with the fact that he talked about the 19th Amendment. Because, ultimately the way that she's acting, right, her coming up and ultimately putting her opinion, right, where it's not wanted and just interrupting. And that's that, and he did mention, right, liberals and this, that, and the third. But really, that's just the Western, lifestyle, the Western, way of life, if you will, man. Right, which is ultimately completely against the scriptures, man. It's completely against, Yahweh Shemi Shah, man. And ultimately how it's like it. Ultimately how things are supposed to be, man. This is not how life is meant to be, right? A woman is not meant, right, to be acting like that, especially an older woman, especially an older woman, right? The scriptures tell you that, the older woman, right, is to be chaste, right? Keep her at home. Matter of fact, let's grab that, in what is that? 1 Timothy 2:9. It says, in like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, right? And she wasn't dressing in modest apparel, man. You know, she wasn't dressed in modest apparel. She wasn't dressed, you know, in you know, a covered up manner, right? Because, you know, you see a lot of, you know, over there in the East, man, you got a lot of them women, like, you're not allowed to, you know, dress like how these American women dress, man. You're not allowed to wear that shit, man. You get, you know, they have something called Sharia law, you know, out there in the Middle East, man, right? Where if a woman is, you know, being a whore or being, you know, basically in that Western mindset, man, she can get killed, man. She can get stoned, you know, but you can look that up, man. You know, being an adulterer, right, according to the scriptures, right, or adulteresses, right, a man or a woman, right, a man sleeping with another man's wife, or a woman sleeping with more than one man in her entire life, hey, they're supposed to be stoned, man, and killed, right? Because that's wickedness, that's evil, you know. And you best believe this older woman right here, man, she a fucking whore, right? She compared herself, as the dude said, man, you comparing yourself to, you know, the standard of Miami is basically comparing yourself to the standard of whores and tramps, you know. But see, this is how society is moving. We're going to get it, but I want to grab this first, right? It says, in like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness and sobriety, right? And that woman very well could have been drunk, man, you know. It says, not with broidered hair or gold or pearls or costly array, but which becometh women professing godliness, right? This is how you women are supposed to be moving, right? This is the criteria, right, of how you women are supposed to be living your life, right, according to the scriptures, right? It says what? It says, with good works, let the woman learn in silence with all subjection, right? But I suffer not a woman to teach nor usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. And what she do? She came up, started yapping her fucking mouth, right? Trying to ultimately put herself over this man, right? Trying to silence this man, you know? This is not how things were or have been for thousands of years, right? This is a fairly new thing, right? The scriptures talk about, right, that, you know, that a woman shall surpass a man, you know, shall be put over a man. That's prophecy, and that has happened. You know what I mean? And it started, you know, going back, right, to, you know, the 19th Amendment, right? When the 19th Amendment, right, in the I think it was 1920s, in that area, right? It was ultimately established, right? Which will ultimately fucked everything up, right? You see right here, it says the 19th Amendment, right? The U.S. To the U.S. Constitution. 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, ratified in 1920, prohibits states from denying the rights to vote based on sex. Right? Meaning, if you're a man or woman, right, you can vote. Right? That was the beginning of women receiving, you know, what they say, right? Equality. It says right here in the pictures, right? Votes for women, votes for women, votes for women. It says equality for women, right? Equality for women, right? That is what started it, right? Going back to the 19th Amendment, right, allowing you women to have some kind of equal rights, as you call it, man, right, which started that whole you know, feminist movement, right, where a woman can ultimately sit here and have some type of opinion and deny men and oh no, we're equal, you have rights, I have rights, so on and so forth, man. You know, that was the beginning stages of it, man, and it just exploded, right, to what we see today. Right, as you've seen in that video, man, a woman could just come up, you know, be a fucking, you know, have her cleavage out, have her titties out, man, you know, showing ass cheeks, this and the third, and doing hop from rod to rod to rod, right? This is where everything kind of led to, right? And it ultimately affected, you know, the Israelite community the most, man. You see a lot of these so-called black women, you know, so-called Hispanic women, right? Hardly so-called native women, but you still have them right out here showing they bodies, man. You know, but yet want to be respected as if they're an ancient woman, right? That covers up and this and the third, right? That's that bugged out mentality, man. Right? These women out here are bugged the fuck out. But again, it goes back to this, right? It says the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. The amendment also grants Congress the power to enforce it through legislation. The 19th Amendment was a culmination of decades of activism and protest by generations of women's suffrage support, right? So this ultimately, again, is the beginning stages of what we see today, you know? But again, a woman is not equal to a man. A woman is not on the same level as a man, right? The scriptures talk about, matter of fact, let's grab it. I had it pulled up first, you know, in Sirach the 36th chapter, right? that a woman is ultimately a possession unto a man, right? It says right here, Sirach 36 and verse 24. And here's the point, right? It says, he that getteth a wife, right? Because you women are supposed to be wives, right? Scriptures say, you know, a woman is supposed to be subject unto her husbands, right? A woman is supposed to be a wife, right? That's the whole, you know, the reason why a woman was created, right? Scripture saying that was that First Corinthians the 11th chapter, that the man was not made for the woman, but the woman was made for a man. Before we continue on that, I want to prove that, right? Scripture said, prove all things. 1 Corinthians 11th chapter, right here, verse 9. It says, neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. So you women are supposed to be attached, right, and guided and led by a man, right? And you see the way that this woman is acting, right? She's either doesn't have a man, you know, or that man is a weak man. You know, that man is not a man of the Lord, right? Therefore, he don't even have proper guidance. You know, he wasn't raised properly, because first and foremost, right, if that man was raised properly, he would look at this as a shame unto himself, man. Right? A loud and clamorous woman, right, is a shame unto a man. You know? We're going to come back to that, but I'm going to grab this in Sirach, the 25th chapter. You know? I think it's near the end. Right. And this is all heavy, man. I'll start at verse 16. It says, I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman, right? It's better to be just, hey, man, dwelling with these damn animals, man, and possibly risk death and whatnot, right? Than to be with a fucking woman that just constantly is evil as hell, constantly being wicked, right? Doesn't want to listen, doesn't want to, you know, but wants to, you know, run her mouth, which is a lot of these so-called black women out here, man. They loud, clamorous, you know? Scriptures say they knoweth nothing, you know? These females out here, man, stupid as hell, man. Why? Because first and foremost, they're outside of their position, man. They're not playing their part, you know? It says the wickedness of a woman changeth her face and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth, right? Her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, shall sigh bitterly. So it's a shame unto that man, right, to have a woman like that, man. To have a woman that, you know, is gadding abroad and doing whatever the fuck she doing, hopping from rod to rod to rod. Right? What you see, a lot of these women are getting exposed, man. A lot of these women are getting exposed for, you know, for the whores and whatnot, the 304s that they are, man. You know? It says, as the climbing up, it's like verse 19, it says, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman, right? These women out here are wicked and evil as hell, man. Right? It says, let the portion of a sinner fall upon her, right? Which is death, right? The wages of sin is death. Right? Romans 3 and 23, right? The wages of sin is death, man. Right? When you go into a wage, it's a payment, right? So for you doing, right, what you're doing, right, there's a consequence to everything, right? A good consequence and a bad consequence, right? Well, guess what? There's a bad consequence for being bad, right? For being wicked, right? And that consequence is death, right? It says, verse 20, it says, as the climbing up at a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man. Right? So women wanted to run her mouth. You seen what she came up, just started running her mouth because she didn't like what was heard or what was said. You know, that don't matter, man. You know, that's something I constantly reiterate too. Just because you hear something you don't like, don't mean you need to say anything. Right? Sometimes it's best to just keep your mouth shut and listen, you know? Because there might be a point in what was said, man. Yeah, you know, and on top of that, you know, I was listening to the elder Damasha Pot, the video that he was doing. I think that's the elder from Indianapolis, if I'm not mistaken, you know, Salakia. But he was doing a video on women as well earlier, you know. You know, it's saying that, you know, and he said in the beginning of his video, man, because again, you know, right, the videos that we do are not talking about all women. You do have women, right, that are actually trying their best, you know, to serve Yahweh Shem Shah, to be, you know, subject unto their husbands and whatnot. Those, we're not talking about you women, man. Right? You women that are sincere, we're not talking about y'all, man. The few women that are sincere, we're not talking about y'all. We're talking about the wicked, evil women that are of this world. You know? You know, and you're seeing it, man. These women need to be humble, man, and that humbling is coming. Matter of fact, that humbling is here. right? I got another video I want to play, you know, but let me get back to the scriptures, right? Verse 20. It says, as the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man. Running her fucking mouth, man. Right? We seen in that video. Running a damn mouth when they need to shut the hell up, right? We just read it, right? That a woman's to be in silence. You know, that's a problem, man. You know, it says, stumble not at the beauty of a woman and desire her not for pleasure. Right? Right? Because it's not about that, man. Right? It's not about, you know, how good she looked, this and the third, right? The scriptures also talk about, you know what I mean? Like, let me grab it, man. Let me grab it. Scriptures talk about find a good field and sow with thy own seed. It's in Sirach. Right here, Sirach 26 and verse 19. It says, my son, keep the flower of thine age sound and give not thy strength to strangers, man. Right? I mean, you can't just, you know, have kids, you know, with anybody, you know, your seed, right? Your bloodline, right? Verse 20 says, when thou hast gotten a fruitful possession throughout all the field, sow it with thine own seed, trusting in the goodness of thy stock, man. So you can't just, you know, drop a nut wherever, man. Right? You're supposed to, you know, you're supposed to pay attention, man. You first and foremost, right? We're men of the Lord, man. You know, not only that, we're Israelites, man. The chosen nation of Yahweh Shem El Shah. Most importantly, right? We trust and believe in Yahweh Shem El Shah to the best of our ability. You know, so we can't just be going out there and just dropping seed on no random bitch, man. You know, or inside a random bitch. You know, excuse my language, man. Right? This is precious seed, man. Precious seed. Right? So we got to go out here, man, and you know, hey, if you're burning, you know, hey, wrap it up at least, man. You know? And we out here raw dogging these fucking females, man. You know, because, you know, these females will sit here and, you know, take your seed and then put you in a very sticky situation, man. You know? Put you on child support and treat you bad. And, you know, especially at times that we're in, the scripture said that because iniquity shall abound, the love of many wax cold. We got women out here killing their own kids, man, just to get back at the man. You know? So you just can't be out here fucking dropping seed everywhere, man. That's not what we're supposed to do. You know, scriptures say to be fruitful and multiply, but hey, man, we still supposed to do our due diligence, right? And to test these women, man, to see what their intentions are, because these women are out here evil, man. You know, and that's majority of these women out here, right? It says, so thy race, which thou leavest, shall be magnified, having the confidence of their good descent, right? It says, and the harlot shall be accounted as spittle, right? Meaning nothing, right? These bitches ain't shit, you know? Bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks, you know? There's a reason why that song came out, man. And it's true, you know? It says right here, a harlot shall be counted as spittle, but a married woman is a tower against death to her husband, right? A woman is supposed to be a comfort, right? That pillar of rest, as the scriptures say, man, right? But you ain't gonna find that out here, man. And if you do, hey, the Lord bless you, man. You know, what does it say? It says the wicked, right here. Verse 23, the next verse, it says a wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man. So if you're being wicked, of course, the Lord going to give you over to a wicked woman, which will destroy you, right? But it says right here, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord. So first and foremost, why we fear Yahweh Shem El Shah, and Yahweh Shem El Shah will give us a woman, right, that'll you know, benefit us to a certain degree. Again, we're still in this world, right? The women are still being tainted, especially out here in America, man, you know, but you'll get a better one, you know, than what you see out here, man. You know, this shit is, I mean, these women out here are fucking done for, man. You know, these women out here are fucking done for. Look at it, man. These fucking videos. I mean, these women out here, they gotta be destroyed, man. That's period, point blank. This Western, you know, lifestyle that's being promoted and being pushed here, man, has got to be done away with, man. Right? Again, our women are not supposed to be like that, man. Thinking that they equal, you know, they equal to us. They can act as, you know what I mean? Fuck no. A woman is not equal to no man. Right, and that brings me back to my precept I had in the, you know, the beginning, right? Sirach 36. It tells you right here, verse 24. It says, "He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of a possession." Right, a possession, right? Let's go to that word possession. I have it pulled up right here. It says an act, right? Possession. This is on online etymology. It says act or fact of holding, occupying, or owning, right? Just like I own my couch, I own my car, I own this, that, and the third. Hey, well, a woman is like unto a possession, right? I own that woman, right? And a lot of you women are gonna say, oh no, you don't own me, you don't own it, da 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 da. But hey, you know, you can say whatever the hell you want, but that mentality, right, is gonna get you killed. You know, no one's talking about, oh, you know, we're gonna treat you, you know, how we treat, you know, our shoes, our outside shoes, and you know, this, that, and the third, just break you, throw you around. This, no, man. You know, scriptures talk about, you know, to love your wife as Yahweh Shai loved the church. You know, love, you know. So, you know, we're not going to treat you like no shit. You know, we understand that you part of us, man. You know, so to the best of our ability, you know, we treat you the way we can. You know, Jake love his woman, man. Jake, you know, want to splurge for his woman and give his woman, you know, whatever she wants and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know, but we ain't finna put you women first because we understand that we the prize. There's more of y'all than there is us, right? And usually when there's less of something, it has more value than when there's abundance of something, man. That's why you see, you know, you got when toilet paper, right, going back, you know, when toilet paper and gas and stuff like that was, you know, the whole supply chain and shit like that was going down. When it was being effective, means there was less of it. What happened? The price of it went up, right? And that's just common fucking sense, right? When there's less of something, price goes up, right? And there's less men on this earth than there are women, right? So the men have more value than these damn women do, man. But they're delusional, man. You know, these women think that they're the prize. They think that they're the, you know, that they have more value than a man. But why is there, you know, what they say, 16 women to every man? Come on, man. That don't even make any fucking sense, right? A diamond is very expensive. Why? Because you can't just find it every fucking where. You know, that's a whole bugged out ass fucking mentality. But nonetheless, getting back to the point, a woman, right, is a possession unto a man, right? And my couch is not equal to me. My car is not equal to me. My house is not equal to me. Right? My clothes are not equal to me. Right? So there's no way that a woman can be equal to a man on any fucking level. You know? So for her to be sitting here coming up to this man and running her fucking mouth, hey, the Lord finna humble her ass, man. And again, like I said, that humbling, right, is here. Right? I'm gonna go to this video that I have pulled up right here on I might have to put it right here, GMS News, right? And let's listen to this shit, man. Right? This is what's happening to, you know, these women, right? Mainly the Israelite woman, the so-called black woman, right? The end of, as you see right here, it says the end of is losing, AI is taking over, and this is judgment from Yahweh Shem Shah. Let's go ahead and get it. Again, fair use, fair use.
Oh, we're getting fired. We're getting fired. We are getting fired. Look how empty it is. They said, fuck it, we're already fired. Let's leave now. Only the black people that need their hours is still here. Let's see. Oh, there's one white girl in the back. She needs her money. Let's see who else. Oh, Ghost Town. Oh, look, there's Color Girl. One more. And we're fucked. Oh, we're getting fired.
And see, there you have it, man. Hey, the Lord is taking your money away. Hey, the Lord is taking, you know, they got a famine going on. You know, which Lord will, I can touch on that. Hey, this shit about to be bad for you fucking women out here, man. You know, the Lord Yahweh Shem Shah is judging you women on a heavy level, man. You know? So this Western mindset of I don't need a man, this, that, and the third, or I can do what I want. Hey, that shit's finna be eradicated, man. You know, because Yahweh Shem Shah finna bring that judgment, man. Let's grab a few more precepts, man. In Isaiah 32. Isaiah 32 and verse, what's that? Right. Slack it. Slack. Isaiah 32 and 9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. And again, right, I'm gonna make this statement again. Right, this is not talking, right, about all women. Right, we understand that there are some women that are actually trying, right, taking the heed. Right, if the shoe fits, wear it. If it don't, you know, don't worry about it. you know. But nonetheless, right, you women need to listen, right? Because y'all women like to talk and run y'all fucking mouths, man, you know. But you need to shut your ass up, be in silence, right, and listen and take heed to what's being said, right? Verse 10, it says, many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail and the gathering shall not come. And again, going into this famine that's taking hold, and you women are all comfortable, right? You women are cool with, you know, which the elder Damasha Pot went into a video I seen a little while ago of this woman basically scolding her son, right, telling him that he's not allowed to, you know, to have a job because it'll take away her food stamps. You know, you women are all about that shit, man. Getting free money, right? You chose a government assistance over the man. Well, all those things are being taken away from you. So what's going to happen? You women are going to run to a man, right? And more specifically, a man of the Lord, because even these men out here, they simps, man. They ain't finna sit here and fucking, you know, you know, they're gonna bring you women in, right? They're gonna do this, that, and the third, and when another group of men come around, and what's gonna happen, man? They gonna fucking fold like goddamn lawn chairs and shit, man. They're not gonna be no protection for you. This shit, they might even side with them motherfuckers, man. You know, because they scary as hell. You know, that's how these men are, man. They ain't got no fucking backbone. You know, and this is why, again, right, Isaiah the 4th chapter in the first verse, right, that you women are going to what? Be seeking a man, right, and more specifically, a man of the Lord, right? Let's grab that. Isaiah 4:1, it says, and in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Right, and again, it's not talking about no regular ass man. This is talking about a man of the Lord, who the Lord, right, is giving value to more and more by the day as the days go by, right, which is a man of the Lord, right, and it's going to be seen on every stage, at every level, right here soon, man, right. The men of the Lord have been speaking these things that are happening now, right, into existence through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Shai, you know. And more people are starting to realize this. More and more people are starting to talk about, you know, Jacob's trouble. More and more people are talking about World War III, you know, and that's spiritual too, man. That alarm, right? That alarm going out, man. That warning is going out, you know. Scriptures talk about blow ye the trumpet. We blowing the trumpet, man. Warning you women, if you don't get right, man, you dead. Lord ain't fucking, he don't give a shit. Lord don't give a shit. He is no respecter of persons, man. He is no respecter of persons. So best believe if the Lord's out here warning you, he don't care who you are, child, old, man, woman. You don't take heed, you will be destroyed, man. And that's the bottom line, man. You know? And life finna get a hell of a lot harder for you women. You know, you women are gonna be, when the time comes, when Jacob's trouble hits, right, the hour of temptation comes, man, you women are gonna be looking for a man of the Lord. You know, and that's going to ultimately, you know, which is, it's beautiful, right, for us, right, the men of the Lord, because that will, you know, give us pickings, man. We're going to be able to pick and choose what woman comes with us, what woman is part of our band, you know. And if you ain't right, if the Lord ultimately is, you know, is not on your side, and you finna get left, and you finna die, man. You know, you know, shit coming, man. It's bad, right? So you women better get right, man. You know, and I don't want to speak on this too long, man. Just kind of, you know, wanted to touch on that. I seen that video, you know, seen both of those videos, man, and wanted to kind of throw that, you know, together in the lesson, man. Lord will, you know, is edifying thus far, man. Lord will, you know, straight to the point when I will give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem, that belongs to the other apostles, other bishops of Great Millstone. Till next time I say shalom.